The situation with Intel is far from being simple right now. On one hand, we see different companies trying to acquire different parts of its business. On the other hand, we see US government pumping money into Intel, desperately hoping for a turnaround. On the third hand, the financial results are not very good. On the fourth hand, you can understand like the whole landscape is very complicated, and the Intel stock looks like it's living a life on its own. So like bad financial results, stock goes up. Bad news, stock continues to go up. Some weird news, stock is So let's try to understand everything that is going on. Hey there and welcome to the Market Monkeys channel. My name is Vadim and today we are talking about slow motion collapse, which once was one of the greatest American semiconductor companies by the name of Intel. Let's start from the biggest piece of news. Do you remember what was it? It was, I think, September and October when we had all of these news like Broadcom is buying Intel, Qualcomm is buying Intel, the different companies try to acquire Intel. So we are back at it again. In Wall Street Journal recently there was an article which says that Taiwan Semiconductors and Broadcom are trying to acquire Intel. Taiwan Semiconductors will take all of its factories or fabs, and Broadcom is trying to take all of its design and marketing. Now, this is a huge piece of news because if it really happens, that means that Intel is basically done. They're done pretending to be this world-class semiconductor company, and I think you can understand why I'm saying the word pretending, because for years now Intel wasn't really competitive in this whole industry. Samsung and TSMC are making 3nm chips in scale. Intel cannot make 4nm chips work for quite some time now, and let's not even talk about the whole AI sector. Like we have AMD obviously and Nvidia, and we have Google with their latest quantum chip. Like Google, the search company, the YouTube company, is now starting to be better at producing AI chips than Intel. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so kind of emotional about Intel stock. I'm not holding Intel stock. I never held Intel stock, but it's I don't know. For me, it's an unpleasant situation because it's like a legacy company. It's like the big American semiconductor company which was there for a long time, and right now we are seeing it basically crumbles before our eyes. If you found this information interesting or valuable, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and you can become a member of the Market Monkeys channel. But of course there is a but in this whole situation, and it's the whole notion that US government has pumped money into Intel with its CHIPS Act, and they were helping Intel to build factories in Ohio, in Arizona, and in different locations throughout US. So how do you imagine this thing works? So Taiwan Semiconductor will acquire Intel when Intel have a bunch of subsidies from US. So Intel is kind of the middleman for Taiwan Semiconductors to take subsidies from US government. Like right now, US is trying to persuade investors from outside the US to invest in manufacturing in US. But I don't think Trump administration will be very happy giving money to outside companies to operate on US soil. The whole idea of giving money to foreign companies, it's a bit weird, but it actually gets messier because Taiwan Semiconductors, believe it or not, operate in Taiwan. If China, for example, makes a move on Taiwan, the whole global supply of semiconductors just crumbles. And if United States have Taiwan Semiconductors factories on its soil, it looks like kind of a hedge against China in this whole work. I told you it gets messier, so you can see a lot of kind of moving parts, a lot of arguments for and against. So let's see what will happen with this part. And now let's talk about Broadcom. So Broadcom, as we know, are just buying companies left and right. This is their whole business model. We made a video about Broadcom and we have discussed how they operate, how they acquire different businesses and integrate them into the big company. So it's no wonder that they're trying to acquire Intel. And I actually think that they are one of the companies which can make this work. I personally think that Intel will not survive as one company. So either it will just split up on itself into different companies, into fab business and design business, or again, we can see that different companies want to acquire different parts. Something will happen. Intel cannot stay like this as one company. And now let's talk about Q4 results so you will understand how far Intel has fallen. So for Q4 2024, Intel reported $14.2 billion in revenue, which was down 10% year over year. Gross margins came in at 39%, which it's a bit embarrassing because we've talked about like Nvidia with their 50-something percent, about AMD with 50-something percent, Nvidia with like 70, 80, something like that. Taiwan Semiconductors, they are manufacturing, only manufacturing. They have 54% gross margin. So, I know, my heart hurts when I'm talking about Intel. Anyway, after all of these news, the saddest part is that Intel actually managed to beat Wall Street expectations and the stock went up. Yeah. We are expecting so low out of this once great company. But anyway, Intel Foundry Services brought in about $4.5 billion. To be honest, they're only alive, I think, because again, they're getting all of these subsidies from US government and because of something which I didn't know, which is called internal chip production. So Foundry Services in Intel are making chips for other customers, which is also Intel. I'm not going to make any jokes about self-pleasuring because YouTube will ban us, but that's not real growth, guys, come on. And then there is, of course, AI problem because all the hyperscalers are trying to buy AI chips as much as possible lately. You have probably seen all the news. AMD and Intel are selling basically everything that they are producing. Intel last year came out and said that Gaudi Free will make a revolution. By the end of the year, they said that the Gaudi Free haven't started selling yet, but they are already disappointed. Intel management are saying they still believe in Gaudi Free, but let's see how it compares to Blackwell and to MI 350 in 2025. I'm not really optimistic, but let's see. Oh yeah, sorry, I almost forgot. And actually, Intel lowered its guidance for 2025 and lowered it much lower than even Wall Street expected with their low expectation. So the question is, why on the day of the announcement the stock actually went up? I think because people are excited that Intel can cease to exist as a company and to sell all of its assets to different companies. So the big question is Intel investable right now? Because Intel has two things going on for them. First of all, well, their stock is really cheap, and I think you can understand why. And second of all, US government. US government cannot let Intel fail because fabs of Intel are declared as a strategic resource for US. So for now, I think Intel and the government will kind of start deciding together if this business can keep going on. And this is actually an interesting thing because if US government keeps funding Intel, at some point there can be a turnaround. Actually, Intel can figure out how to, I don't know, maybe split into different companies, maybe bring outside investors, but not acquirers. But Intel as a company can actually make this turnaround. For now, Intel looks bad. I've talked about financial results. Intel is a $100 billion company with $50 billion debt on its books. So it's risky investment. If you're not holding Intel stock, I would suggest you treat this almost like a call option. Almost like it's all or nothing, like Intel can fall much further, because for now it doesn't look like a great business. I'm certainly not considering Intel to be my investment, first of all, because it's kind of I'm not investing in such a large companies, and second of all, I don't like their business very much. But again, if you believe in the turnaround of Intel, let me know in the comments, please, because I would like to get a second opinion, a probably different opinion from mine on Intel's business and how they can all figure it out. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully you found this video informational. I don't know if you like this video, but press the like button nonetheless and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.